Hi everyone, Tanya MFK here with your 52 weeks of momentum lesson recap. This is week 12. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Tanya Marie Figueres-Kreisinger, more easily known as Tanya MFK. I am a member of the 52 Weeks of Momentum course by Benjamin Hardy, and I come here every week to just share what I'm learning, the exercises we're trying, the insights, so you can gain a piece of your own momentum as you tag along. Of course, this is in no way a substitute for the awesomeness of the course itself, with the number one obvious reason being I'm not Benjamin Hardy. And besides that, we have a lot of other million benefits and awesome things about the large group that we're in, and this just simply isn't that, but that's okay. So you can tag along and get a little piece of the momentum right here with me, and then make sure to sign up next year, right? So as I mentioned, we are in week 12. We are already 3 months in. Wow. So this lesson this week, we're going to talk about being busy. And I'm sure 3 weeks into the new year, you might have had finally that catch up from the holidays and whatnot. And now you're finding yourself in this spring kind of chaos, some time changes for some of you. And it starts to feel chaotic, right? A little busy, like, oh my gosh, we're already here. It's already March. So, the thing is that we live in a society of busy worshipers, right? It's like a good thing. It's not, doesn't seem odd or weird for you to say, oh, I'm just so busy. And everyone just nods along like, oh yeah, totally know what you mean. We're busy. No one questions that, hey, how have you been? Oh, been busy. And everyone's like, oh, I hear you. And then it kind of just ends there. And everyone's like, really? Well, that's weird. What exactly have you been busy with? Nobody says that. Everyone's like, yeah, totally get it. Everyone, we're all so busy. So here's a hard truth for us to consider. If you're finding yourself, feeling like you don't have time, you don't have priorities. Don't hit me, okay? I'm just the messenger. You don't have priorities. Tim Ferriss says, if you feel busy, you're being lazy. Okay, again, don't punch me, all right? I know it sounds crazy. You're like, excuse me, I'm super busy. Clearly not lazy. That's why I'm so busy. I'm doing all this stuff all the time. You're like about to punch me. I get it. But hear him out, okay? Hear me, hear them out, right? Because I'm the same one. I'm like, I'm busy. Oh my gosh. He says, if you're feeling that way, you're being sloppy with your time. And you're like, what? And that sloppiness with your time is ultimately a form of laziness. And this is how we say, he says, if you're feeling busy, then you're being lazy. You're like, what? So to quote him, let me go through a quote, all right? Just kick back, don't get crazy. He says, indiscriminate activity is a form of laziness. The lazy part comes in when you're not being thoughtful or purposeful with your time. So you're not stopping to think and choose, what exactly are my priorities today? And what is it that I'm going to accomplish? What is my true priority? What ends up happening is we just start saying yes to everything and we're bringing it on. And there's this really kind of weird part of us that, and they show this in psychology and everything, is that there's a sense of importance. People want your time. People want to be with you. So you're saying yes, and you're like, oh, I'm important. I'm desired. I'm needed, right? So I'm so busy. But we're also making those choices. We're also just saying yes, a lot of times indiscriminately, right? So in my own experience, I am a very, very organized person. I've mentioned it before to a fault, okay? I'm crazy organized. And I struggle with lists. And I don't mean I struggle like making a list or keeping a list. I struggle with keeping a list. I'll keep it no matter what. And I'll make the list sometimes very indiscriminately, just like, okay, I could do this, I could do that. Oh, you know what? I've been meaning to do this, clean a drawer or check out these books. So I'll add it to the list. And then the next day it's like, I gotta do this and I gotta do that. And then something else comes up, and I'm the mother of a toddler. So on top of all that, trust me, something else comes up and I'll do it. And I'm doing. And I have all these priorities, right? So I had this mentor once who saw me struggling with this, always kind of really chaotic and stressed out. Gotta do this, guys. Time is, coming. Oh my gosh. There's so much to do still. Excuse me. So I would get to the point like, oh my gosh, look at all this I still haven't done yet. So I'm going to be up to like 2 a.m. tonight to get all of this stuff done. He was like, Tanya, you got to stop that. You got to just pick like 1 or 2 things that absolutely have to be done. And then anything over that, it's just going to be gravy. And I was like, what? I'm sorry, that doesn't work. They're on the list because they need to be done. So there is no picking which one. It's all of them. All of them have to be done. And like, I just couldn't fathom this. I was always combating like, no, it doesn't work like that. It has to be done. It's on the list. And again, indiscriminately so. It wasn't necessarily on the list because it was a priority, but because I had put it on the list, it now became so important it had to get done, because my goal was really accomplishing the list more so than the things and the importance of the things on the list. All right, you still with me there? So I was busy. Oh my gosh, right? I was busy. And any of my friends and anyone would attest to, definitely me during my, late 20s and early 30s, were just, Tanya, you better book with her 2 or 3 weeks in advance because that girl is busy, always doing stuff. So my newest practice that I've just recently introduced. Now I have come a little way from these things, but this course has really brought a lot of new ways of thinking and actions. And again, running my businesses and doing the things that I do, you fall into that trap. No matter how many things that I've learned, I do find myself falling into that trap often. And so a new thing that I've been trying that has just honestly been life-changing was something that was brought through Benjamin Hardy. That's actually a concept from Dan Sullivan, and it's called, it's referred to as my 3 wins, right? What are your 3 wins? And so each night I will choose what my 3 wins are going to be for the next day. Essentially choosing priorities, right? So I think what happens is, for me, it makes it safer because I'm not saying these are the only 3 things I'll get done. I still have a long list. I just say, these are the 3 things that I will feel like I've won. I did something. I won today because these are the 3 things that got done. Like, yes, awesome. I also got over those other 27 things done. But these 3 things were the things I set out to do. And those are the 3 things I got done. Thus setting a priority and saying these are the most important things. And so every night I set those, and then the next day, hopefully do those things. And then again, at the end of the day, I write, what were my 3 wins for the day? It feels really, really good when those 3 wins are the same 3 wins that I set for the night before. When I say I'm going to do, sorry, I have an itch here. When I do X, Y, Z, tomorrow I want to, let's pick something simple. Tomorrow I want to clean out a drawer, I want to do the dishes, and I want to do some gardening. These are all things that are never on my list, but that would be fun. Then the next day, say, what were my 3 wins today? Say, I cleaned out the drawer, I did the dishes, and I did the gardening, right? Then it's like, oh, they match, awesome. Like, I did awesome, that's great. So what are my 3 wins gonna be tomorrow? And you keep doing that, and it's just, it changes so much. It changes your focus, it pushes you to sit and really determine, what are the things I really wanna do? So honestly, this simple little practice has been amazing for me, and it really pushes you to ask yourself, is what I'm doing right now really what I want to and should be doing? Are these the things I want to do and I should be doing, especially in reference to the wins that I've set out for? And awareness of how you're spending your time is the first step to understanding and embracing the idea of how you spend your time is a direct reflection of the decisions you're actively making. So you may think, well, of course I know a decision I made. Do you? Do you though? Because when you're sitting on your phone and you're scrolling on Facebook for half an hour, did you deliberately say, you know what? I'm going to totally waste this next half an hour and just scroll through Facebook. Now, for those of you that do, awesome. That's actually super awesome because you're very aware, like, I'm going to choose to spend this time. But when you find yourself just doing it and an hour later on Facebook or Instagram or whatever your vice is that you've just mindlessly done, and you see how you spent your time, you're like, wow, I just made a decision at some point somewhere to just do this. When I told myself that what I wanted to do was this XYZ. That hour could have easily been done for the dishes or easily been done for the cleaning the drawer, which I said is what I wanted to accomplish. So how we spend our time and being aware of how we spend our time and also aware of these decisions that we're making, this is where that change is going to come in. So one thing I want to go through on this whole concept is, so how do we unbusy ourselves? How do we stop doing this? How do we stop getting to this point? And the first one is stop talking about being busy. Our words have so much power. So when we're constantly saying, I'm busy. Oh my gosh, I'm so busy. I feel so busy. It's just going to add to that. Even if you're not maybe that busy, you just feel busy. You're saying, I'm busy. Oh my gosh, I'm busy. And we believe it. We act in it. We all of those things, it becomes even more real than it may be. You may very well be busy, but constantly putting that into your vocabulary and labeling everything as that is just going to add to that chaos, right? And so when you find yourself compelled to say to someone in conversation, "Oh, how have you been?" "Oh, I'm busy." See if you can catch yourself and stop for a moment. And instead of maybe saying, I'm so busy, say exactly what you're actually doing. "Oh, wow, I've been working on a project to get this done. It's been exciting. I've been recording some videos. I've been, XYZ. Now all of a sudden we're talking about what we're accomplishing and we're excited about what we're involved in. And it's not this, "Oh, I'm busy, all right?" So it's a simple thing, right? Just a shift of vocabulary, a shift of response when we're talking to people. Stop talking about it. Stop talking about being busy, okay? The next one, stop multitasking. Okay, I know for some people you're like, what do you mean? That's how I get so much stuff done. No, it's not. Multitasking is a myth. Multitasking is half-assing many things instead of full-assing one thing. You can't multitask. You think you're multitasking, but you're just half involved. And science shows it actually takes you longer to get things done than if you just focused on one thing and finished it through and did the next thing. You're not actually gaining any time. You're not actually, you're not getting anything done faster. Multitasking doesn't actually work. You're not actually tasking on two things. You're just distracting yourself back and forth. And this is where we need to really, allow ourselves to relax. We need to really relax and indulge in our non-busyness. You need to completely disconnect from work and other things and just be present to experience a real break and balance from our busyness. So if you're like, "Oh, I'm going to relax with the family and maybe it's watching TV, but I can also check my email," then you're not really relaxing. You're not really disconnecting. You're not really spending time with your family. You're multitasking. So of course you feel busy because you're working in your relaxation. There is never ever really a break. This multitasking is keeping this chaos and this busyness and all this stuff. Stop it. Do one thing, do it well, do it all the way through, full to the very end extent that you can, and then do the next thing, okay? So stop the multitasking. There's no such thing. Next, rethink your definition of self-care. So we're in the same thing, right? The same kind of thought of like, I need to really disconnect. I really need to cut off when I do. So we need to prioritize our mental, physical, and intellectual pursuits. So things like, deliberately practicing something, getting better at something. If you're a speaker and you need to focus on writing your speech, at some point you should also be practicing getting better at that, at practicing the actual work or style or something, right? So intellectual pursuits, or maybe you want to learn a language, right? That's something or physical, working out or choosing a new hobby, right? Mental pursuits, all of these things, they're not bonuses. These are actually the things that will make us better business owners, better business entrepreneurs, better humans. This stuff is not extra or luxury. These are the things that actually enrich who we are and make us better at what we do. And there are so many cited instances, circumstances, quotes, and whatnot of some of the greatest people that we look up to who have said that their biggest breakthroughs or moments of genius have come through when they were doing something completely unrelated to what they were trying to figure out. It all hit them when they were playing tennis, or it hit them when they were, at one of their child's baseball games. They weren't sitting there and actively thinking while at the baseball game, how could I fix this? How can I fix this? They finally let their brain do some of the work and their subconscious do some of the work that it needed to do while you got to enjoy and disconnect. And all of a sudden, boom, it hit you, right? So if you can't justify relaxing or doing some of your things that seem fun or great to just build yourself up as a human, then maybe shift your thinking to realize that it's actually a great business decision as well. Okay, so we need to rethink our definition of self-care. And lastly, right, you're like, okay, Tani, these are all kind of foofy, and I don't know if it's really saving me time yet. So yes, the other thing you need to do is learn to outsource and delegate more things, right? And we think, oh, well, of course, that's nice. If I could only do that. I can't, whatever the excuses we tell ourselves, which are just that, they're excuses. So let's start with this. If nothing else, if you're like, well, I just can't hire someone, fine. Okay, fine. So start with this task. Every day, at the end of the day, think about your day and write down 2 things that you could have outsourced or delegated to someone else. 2 things that you did. What did you do and say, you know what, I did that today and I probably could have asked so-and-so to do that, or I probably could have given the neighbor kid, $10 and they could have, dropped that off, or I could have had that food delivered, whatever that thing is, you could have outsourced it or delegated it. Right? Or maybe it's something that maybe it's cleaning the house and you're like, okay, I could have maybe had a cleaner. Maybe there's not the money for it now, but maybe it's something for me to think about, right? So think about that. And if you can, the next day, delegate them. Try it out. Make a phone call and say, you know what, would you be available to do this? Would you be interested in doing that? Or check on Upwork or something like that. See who's out there who does these things. There are even, I think TaskRabbit, if that's still around, TaskRabbit was like labor things. If you needed someone to take someone down to the junkyard or help you clean out some files or something, there are places that can do that for really reasonable prices, right? So these are things you can look at and then do this every day until you get better and better at delegating and outsourcing things. And then you leave your time to focus on what you're good at, what you like doing, what you should be doing and using your skills for, right? That's how we're going to get the most done, okay? So those 4 things, stop talking about being busy, stop multitasking because it doesn't exist anyway and you're just like all over the place. Rethink your definition of self-care, outsource and delegate stuff, right? Now, if you're struggling with this stuff, this whole busy feeling, like most of us are, Benjamin Hardy suggests 2 great books to read are The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. He's going to get in your face. He might call you lazy. So if you can handle that, okay, get in there, read that book. And another one is Essentialism by Greg McKeown. Sorry, I don't really know how to say his last name, but Essentialism book. Google that. It's going to get the right guide for you. And that's another reason of kind of focusing on specific things. So one of those 2 books, both those books, however, how much of a reader you are, check those out. But, we need to focus on the things that have the highest impact and remove everything else. And if you're feeling busy, as I said before, it's because you're saying yes to the wrong things. You're saying yes to the wrong things. You're saying yes to the wrong people. We're seeking approval from the wrong people. And I'm gonna tell you, my mom, is amazing, but she did this all the time when we were kids. She would always volunteer to do some sort of, casserole dish or whatnot, cookies or something for some event or group of people or Bible study or whatnot. And then, she was working full time or 2 jobs and she had the 2 kids and all that fun stuff. And we had sports and all that, right? So then during the week, she was stressed out because it was like, oh, and on top of this, I have to make this casserole and these cookies and I have to do all of this stuff. And so because that she didn't have time to spend time with us or do the thing she actually wanted to do because she had to do this thing. And so by the time that it got closer to the event or whatnot, she would resent this thing that she had to do. But she was, for some reason, she had to get those gold stars or that approval from this group. And really, a lot of times she didn't even want it or need it. But for some reason, in whatever that moment was, she said yes to this thing to be like, I could do that. I could be the one to bring my amazing casserole and everyone will say, oh my gosh, that's so amazing. And then she would focus on getting it or gaining it, even if she didn't want it. And if you cannot see already how out of alignment that was, and how it was just, it didn't have to be. No, we're saying yes to the wrong things. So if you find yourself feeling busy, you're living your life out of alignment. Okay, so speaking of focusing on the right things and in what you want for the most impact out of your life, our exercise that we were challenged with this week was to write a bucket list. How fun is that? Yay, bucket list. So after I've, you're lazy and said all this stuff, let's look at a bucket list. So one of my favorite quotes that I've heard before too is, don't make a bucket list, live a bucket life. But in order to do that, we need to kind of make the list first, right? So let's make the list. So, write down 10 to 15 things that you have always wanted to do, you want to do. Skydiving, traveling, going to the Super Bowl, learning a new language, whatever those things are, right? Put them down, make it real like, yeah, these are really the things that I want to do. And what you want to do is after you write those down, look at those and say, okay, how far away are some of these things from really happening? Is this a 10-year thing? Is this like a 15 years? Is this 5 years? Is this next year? Like, I want to do this by this time. And just kind of write like a loose idea of how far you see from these things happening. And then look at them and just for a moment, stop and imagine and say, what would it look like if I did all of these things this year? Like, what would that be like if I, did this traveling and did that thing and like, what would that mean for your life? What would that feel like? What would that look like? What would you have to focus on in order to get some of these things going and like the wheels in motion? And would you have to make some phone calls, or perhaps you have to stop doing some other things in your life now to focus on having to get something done? Maybe savings for something would have to be more intense. What would have to happen? And are there any? Look at your list and say, are there any things on this that maybe, just maybe, I can even get done in the next 30 to 90 days? That could be crazy. So just look at that. Look at that, analyze it, see how it would feel. That's really it for now. So it's a writing and thinking, writing and really looking at that and saying, what would that be like? And get your mind shift into kind of what it is to have a bucket life instead of a bucket list. All right, so that's really all that was for our exercise this week. That's it. So if you're feeling busy, it might be just because you're living incongruent to your true priorities and goals. You might just be out of alignment. So get back on that morning routine, get focused. If you haven't already, try that 3 wins method. I swear it's life-changing. It's been so helpful for me, and I can only imagine it's going to be awesome for you. And start living on purpose. Write that bucket list, and when you think you can do those things. And we will have a bucket list worksheet in the description below, so you can actually use that if you want. Just a little pretty version for you to enter in, your ideas and thoughts and what you think, and all these exciting things that you're going to get done in your life. So use that worksheet. There's also, and try the 3 wins thing. Like I said, there's also an app, because like I said, Dan Sullivan and his team kind of are the ones who brought this concept to life. And so they actually have an app, I think it's called Winstreak. I haven't used it, but if you're an app person, I'm a digital paper person, so I have a spreadsheet that I do this on every night. But if you're an app person, check that out. Let us know how it goes for you. If it's awesome, we can tell more people about it. And that's it for this week. So if you enjoyed hanging out with me, then make sure to click that subscribe button, and you'll get notified when our next lessons come up. I love again chatting with you guys. Please comment below. Let us know if you did the worksheet, maybe some of your bucket list items, or if you have any tips or hacks on how you keep from being too busy or hurried. And we can even share that with everyone in our next video. That would be awesome. And if you want to learn how to apply these type of concepts to your entrepreneurial journey, then definitely go and follow me on Tanya MFK on Facebook or Instagram, where we do these same types of live lessons. But instead, we really focus on the business aspect of them and how we shift this into our business practices and our marketing practices. So if that is something that you would find helpful, then definitely come and join us there. I'd love to see you guys. And yeah, that's it. Thanks again. Thanks so much. And we'll see you all next week. Bye.